very difficult for me to come to grips with the facts that lead me to the understanding of where we actually are today. It fills me with dread and loathing. And I don't say fear because fear is useless. Fear is the mind killer. It will scramble your brains for you. That's why TV and news in general is so intent on creating fear, because once they've scrambled your brains for you, then you are their pawn. The things that have brought us to this point, though, are, it is very disheartening because there's not a lot of thinking that's gone into it, just basic greed. And that is the moving force beneath human events, behind human events in our recorded history, greed. And it always boils down to this war and that war, and those wars are all based on greed. Now, we have many problems in this world. One of these days, that moon is going to come apart, and that's going to be the end of this. We've been given a stay of execution. I don't think you can understand that. No one's ever told you about what happened on the other planets that we used to have, where we actually came from, and that this is the garden. The only reason we are here is actually accidental. We made this garden to produce our food. The moon was the refrigerator and the transshipment point, utilizing the absolute zero of space to be able to store vast quantities of packaged food to distribute to our bases and our mining colonies, which were across all the smaller moons of all the giant planets. Our robots, what's left of them, are everywhere. A lot of our technology only came about once we started sending things out to the moon and seeing what is there and bringing little pieces of it back here. But one thing that people do not realize is there's been things in orbit around this planet other than the moon since the time before, since we were a lot more than we are now, intellectually and spiritually, and we had a much greater understanding, although that didn't help us. When the time came, we still lost it all again. So, this is all just a bunch of mumbo-jumbo spirituality we have going on here. They have no real spiritual goals, nothing noble, nothing of any intent other than greedy. This is very, very bad, very bad. This is the devil's work, okay? It's the only way I can explain it to you people, because you don't know God. You would never know God in the situation that you're in, and believe me, God is not anything that has to do with your petty little lives. God is something that created, engineered, if you will, matter and how it reacts together in water and how it forms of its own volition. This system, which is engineered of matter and light and how it flows and what it does and how we are just a byproduct of that, that is all one. And that it didn't happen accidentally. Things like this do not happen accidentally. Once you begin to see things like that, then you can start to see the order and the evolution of things that, again, do not just happen. The engineering is quite blatant everywhere. It's the way it is. But this group of people here who believe themselves so superior to everyone else that are leading us, these politicians, the Bush family, the other wealth of the world, the royal blood, and their religion of idiocy and hate and torture and strife, and the many variants of those religions, that's all so disgusting and so bestial and filthy that, there's ways for me to understand why some people actually have in the past hated the human race, and it shows in their, like the news people, they hate humanity, Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, George Bush Sr., Barbara Bush, Sarah Palin, whether they understand it or not, they hate humanity because they do nothing to drag humanity out of the gutter, out of the grime and filth and slime, and bring humanity up closer to the light. They do nothing. They foster filth and greed and hate and strife and warfare because that's all they know. And every time they do it, and every generation they breed, every time they mix genes with their cousin or whatever they do, it's a devolution. It never occurs to them that they're bringing mankind down into the sewer. They always think they have these lofty ideals and such that they've been taught as they worship the crucified Jew with the blood dripping down in the crown of thorns. So these people, they're so mixed up. They've been given a stay of execution, and they are intent on their own death and our death in general, the end.